Hey guys, tonight we're going somewhere you probably shouldn't. Deep into the back alleys of ancient Pompeii behind a narrow, smoke-darkened doorway, framed with crumbling stone and flickering lamplight. We're stepping into a Roman brothel known back then as a Lupanar, literally wolf den. You might expect this tale to be exotic, perhaps even thrilling in a grim, historical way. Spoiler, it's not. You likely won't survive this night. Not physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Yet, that's part of the allure, isn't it? Before you settle in, imagine liking a video or subscribing, but only if you truly connect with this journey. I'm not everyone's cup of hemlock. I'd love to know where you're joining from. Drop your city in the comments. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for a soft hum, and let's step into the past together. You stand before a low, two-story stone building. It's not hidden. Sex carries no shame in this society, but it's tucked off the main road. Lanterns flicker inside, casting a reddish glow through a narrow, slit window. A carved stone phallus outside points the way, a blunt signpost. Subtlety isn't Rome style. The stone beneath your sandals is worn smooth by countless footsteps, eager, drunken, or unwilling. As you duck through the low entrance, the air hits like a fist. Warm, moist, thick with oil, unwashed bodies, wine, old incense, and a metallic tang like rust or dried blood. It clings to your nose, seeps into your mouth. You taste it before you see anything. There's no lobby, no warm welcome, just a damp, echoing corridor lined with tiny doors. Above each, chipped, smoke-darkened frescoes depict vivid scenes you wish you hadn't examined. One shows a woman straddling a man, head thrown back. Another, a man standing while a woman kneels, arms bound. These aren't decorations, they're menus. Oil lamps and wall niches barely hold back the darkness, their flames making shadows twitch. Somewhere down the hall, a slurred, too loud laugh erupts, followed by a scream that cuts off abruptly. You freeze, but no one else reacts. A barefoot woman in her 20s, draped in a sheer tunic that hides nothing, brushes past. Her eyes, smudged with coal, are vacant, her soul long gone, leaving her body behind. You duck into an empty cubiculum, a space barely larger than a closet. The bed is a stone slab with tattered, stained fabric. Once a cushion, now a ruin. It's cold, hard, built for turnover, not comfort. From the next room, murmurs rise, pleasure or pain, often indistinguishable here. Above you, a fresco shows a grinning woman, legs spread, gripping a man's head like she might snap his neck. Is it arousing? Intimidating? Instructional? Perhaps all three. This isn't a modern brothel. It's ancient Rome, where sex is transactional, political, performative, rarely mutual. You're not here for affection or safety, just spectacle. Outside, life hums on. People buy bread, sacrifice goats, gossip in the forum. Inside, flesh is traded like market grapes. Workers here are meretrices if free, but most are prostibuli, enslaved, branded, disposable. They live, sleep, and die here, their names sometimes scratched into the walls as graffiti. The walls are a guest book of crude reviews. I screwed Marcia here, she moaned sweetly. Or Lucius was here and spent a coin on nothing. Classic Lucius. A niche holds a terracotta Priapus, fertility god with a comically oversized erection, watching over the room. Does it help or haunt? Probably the latter. This is the Lupanar of Pompeii, the ancient world's most infamous brothel, preserved under volcanic ash when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 CE. 20 feet of ash and pumice entombed some mid-act, their plaster casts frozen in their final moments. Scholars debate whether these brothels were state-run or tolerated through bribes and indifference. Rome's ambiguity, denying, distracting, pretending control while the empire smolders, is its hallmark. The walls are thin, privacy a myth. Every grunt, sob, and whisper leaks through. The smell worsens, sour wine, baked in sweat, unwashed fluids. It's not just a scent, it's a weight coating your tongue, settling in your throat. Someone vomits nearby, a wet, unceremonious sound. No one checks on them. This is normal here, part of the ambience. The walls are damp, not from rain but from bodies. There's no plumbing, no fresh water. Waste festers in back rooms. Mold creeps in corners. Something scuttles under the bed, an insect or rodent, maybe both. Workers name them, unfazed. A couple stumbles past, the man slurring in sloppy Latin, slapping his companion's cheek. She doesn't flinch, her eyes elsewhere. Another room reveals a broken pot used as a toilet. Hygiene is a fantasy. Perfume and incense mask what soap can't touch. A thick man with a leather strap, face pitted from disease, appears, an enforcer. A merchant client protests unpaid fees but crumples under a swift punch, dropping a coin to the floor. The message is clear. He's worth less than the effort. In the open courtyard, moonlight falls on a cracked mosaic of Priapus weighing his penis against coins, a Roman joke about sex, power, and profit. Girls sit on benches, rubbing sore feet, sipping cheap wine. One, missing teeth, offers a weak smile. Not flirtation, but survival. A cat slinks by, hunting scraps or rats. Amid the tragedy, there's a strange normalcy. A girl braids another's hair. Someone hums a haunting tune. A burnt offering smolders on a tiny altar. Scholars argue whether these were full-time brothels or multifunctional spaces. Taverns by day, vice dens by night. The explicit graffiti and architecture scream purpose, but Rome defies neat categories. The noise layers build. Squeaking beds, forced laughter, muffled whimpers, a Greek love song in a voice too beautiful for this place. A fresco shows 3 tangled bodies, none smiling. You feel it now, not just disgust, but a creeping sadness. You came for historical voyeurism, but found raw human suffering. These were people trapped, pretending, while you're a ghost in their world, unable to help or leave. The Roman sex economy was no side hustle. It was a taxed, recorded system pumping coin into the city. The Lupanar was a business, like a tavern or butcher shop. Girls were assets, clients' income, the lino, pimp, counting profits upstairs. Ledgers tracked names, dates, services. Tokens, spintry, stamped with erotic scenes, served as brothel currency, keeping things discreet. Most girls, enslaved, never saw the money. Freedom was a cruel math problem few solved. The place hums like a busy tavern. Drinks served, food cooked by an old woman over a smoky flame, smelling of onions and regret. 2 clients argue over a girl. She waits, numb. A bouncer looms, protecting profit, not people. Sex work spilled beyond brothels, into taverns, baths, streets, but the Lupanar offered anonymity. No judgment, just coin. Yet, appearances mattered. A freeborn woman risked ruin, a senator's son, his career. Emperors like Augustus passed laws to curb bachelor excess, not prostitution, to preserve social order. Some clients fell in love, scrawling, "I love Fortunata," on walls. A dangerous sentiment in this brutal economy. A girl might service a dozen men daily, more during festivals, earning a few asses per act, less than bread. The lino took most, leaving girls to disappear when too old or broken. You notice their faces now. One wears an oversized silver bracelet. Another scratches tally marks into a beam. Hundreds, thousands, a silent scream. This isn't hell for them. It's life, mundane in its cruelty. Near the entrance, a locked money chest sits under a painting of Mercury counting coins, inscribed with lucrum sine iuria, profit without shame. The frescoes aren't art, they're menus. Point to the scene, legs, ropes, impossible poses, and pay. A woman nearby raises an eyebrow, urging you to choose or move on. Time is money. The tokens, brass discs with sex acts and numbers, let clients avoid speaking their desires. Were they official or brothel-specific? Historians debate, but they reveal a logistical, industrialized system. A fresco shows a joyless couple. Another, a whip in the corner. The girls know each pose of strategy, which is quickest, hides bruises, or avoids rough hands. A drunken client stumbles out, a girl following, clutching a coin like it's poisoned. Graffiti boasts, Murtis does it best for 2 asses, or claims a better manhood. A faded price board lists acts. 3 coins for this, 1 for that. A joke reads, pay less, last less. You enter an empty cubiculum, air hot from recent use. The stone bed, angled for drainage, chills your bones. The floor is packed dirt, littered with rags and smelling of wine and urine. A torn mattress crawls with lice. Graffiti mocks bedbugs. A faded fresco shows a bored man and a woman with closed eyes. You lie back, imagining her life. No privacy, no escape, just endless nights until body or mind breaks. Footsteps, slaps, and groans seep through thin walls. Everything is performance, nothing hidden. You're not just shocked, you're numb. The real terror isn't the violence, it's the indifference. You came to witness history, but you're caught in a machine that grinds lives into coin. The smell, the sounds, the faces, they'll haunt you. You leave, but the Lupanar stays, its frescoes and graffiti whispering of a world where survival was the only currency. The sounds surround you. Moans, sobs, the scrape of a belt against a wall, the dull thud of a fist. No one knocks here. You already know why. In a corner, you spot a bowl of cloudy water, or something pretending to be water with a stained cloth beside it. That's the cleaning protocol. Between clients, workers wipe themselves down, sometimes sharing the same bowl among multiple women. Your stomach churns. This is one of the better brothels. Elsewhere in Rome, it's just a tarp, a tree, and a prayer the guard looks away. Scholars debate how much autonomy these women had. Some argue enslaved sex workers could choose clients or negotiate, wielding subtle power. Others call this a modern fantasy, insisting the system was brutally designed to strip agency. The truth likely lies in between. Some survived by adapting, performing joy so convincingly men believed it, or retreating inside their minds. Near a lamp, you notice a scratched inscription, Livia Estima. Livia is the best. Who wrote it? A client? Another worker? Livia herself, claiming her name as a small act of defiance? It's a haunting reminder that she was more than a function, a bid to be remembered. Lying on the stone slab, you feel the weight of countless bodies, hands gripping walls, breaths fogging the air. Nothing here was gentle or free. The air thickens, sticking in your throat like phlegm. Claustrophobia hits, your skin itches, your stomach knots. You crave sunlight, soap, escape, but you're trapped in this stone coffin of someone else's nightmares. As you stand, your hand brushes the wall, dislodging plaster to reveal an older fresco. A woman holding a mirror, her face serene, untouched by the room's current purpose. It feels defiant, as if painted before this space became a factory of flesh. Brushing away dust, you sense the weight of time, lives layered, forgotten, buried under plaster and politics. Outside, a girl with tightly braided hair pauses, her gaze flat. Maybe she used this room, painted that face. You'll never know. One thing is certain, a night here would change you, if you emerged at all. You might assume these workers were Roman, born into the empire, working a rough trade. Wrong. Most were enslaved, dragged from distant provinces. Greek girls like Dion or Thais, Syrians from dusty villages, Thracians with haunted eyes, or a North African boy with a mispronounced name. The Lupanar was a mosaic of stolen lives, reshaped for profit. In a darker hallway, you see the invisible ones. New arrivals, some barely girls, 13 or 14, faces blank, shoulders hunched. One has dirt under her nails, fresh from the slave market. Her name, perhaps Gaia, Joy, is ironic. She hasn't smiled in weeks. Language barriers are brutal. Many don't speak Latin, learning only enough to obey. Yes, no, harder, faster. Some never learn, communicating through gestures or compliance. In the courtyard, a girl practices prices and positions under her breath, her thick accent flattening each syllable, crafting herself into a product. Romans preferred foreign workers for their exotic allure, a guilt-free conquest. Graffiti boasts. I had a Syrian. She screamed like a goddess, or the Greek was worth every denarius. These aren't reviews, they're trophies of subjugation. Scholars estimate most sex workers were enslaved, though some freed women or citizens turned to the trade out of necessity. Even free workers had little practical autonomy. In a quiet cubiculum, you find a carved wooden pendant under the bench, possibly from the East, a talisman of protection or memory. Some rooms hold scraps of home, a colorful cloth, a shell, a name carved under a bed, preserving a shred of self. A few rose to legend, using wit or resilience to buy freedom, like the rumored prostitute-turned-senator's mistress buried in silk. But for every success, hundreds died, nameless, discarded outside city walls. Rome adored Greek culture, but broke Greek women without a thought. You see it in their eyes, intelligence hiding behind blankness, knowing a different birthplace could have changed everything. A tall, dark-skinned woman, Egyptian or Nubian, passes, her sharp eyes calculating. Men watch her, an exotic rarity, but her measured walk shows she knows the danger and how to wield it. Is she powerful or trapped? Perhaps both. Some embrace their persona for survival, believing the lie to dull the pain. The darkness blurs moans with laughter, footsteps with voices. You stare at a cracked fresco, a man gripping a woman's hair as she arches over a stool, her mouth open in pain or ecstasy. A sultry whisper cuts through. Quid vis, Dominus? What do you want, master? A figure leans in a doorway, her voice practiced, musical. De mihi, she says, smiling only with her mouth. Do you like Latin in your ear? Lingua longa, dulcis. It's Roman dirty talk, graphic, poetic, awkward. No soft I want you, just clinical instructions. Place tongue here, hand there. Words like futa, to pound, or landica, clitoris, dominate graffiti, alongside insults like cactor, cave felis, crappy man, beware of evil. Poets like Catullus wove vulgarity into verse, and brothel workers mastered both highbrow and gutter Latin. Her phrases test you. Noli timere parvis, ego te virum facium. Don't be afraid, little one. I'll make you a man. It's half threat, half joke, delivered with polished rhythm. Graffiti confirms the deception. Non-loquitur, said Gamit, she doesn't speak, she moans. Omnius simulat, she fakes it all. It's a performance, no applause, just a coin. In another room, you hear Greek or Punic, a private chant or prayer, armor against this world. Language here is both weapon and shield, though male-written graffiti and poetry skew our understanding. Did women whisper back? Some likely did, fighting fire with fire. The brothel's puppet master, the lino, sits in a side room, part office, part surveillance post. No cartoonish villain, he's a middle-class merchant with rings, a purse, and an unused dagger. On a stool, he scratches numbers on a clay tablet, tracking coins, girls, clients. A worker hands him a pouch of earnings. He weighs it, nods, and sends her back to work without a word. He's not cruel, just bored. A businessman taxing vice like bread sales. His ledgers list names, Marcia, Dion, Fortunata, with tally marks for clients. Some girls bear branded marks, symbols of ownership, debated as legal or sadistic. He runs multiple ventures, taverns, rented rooms, perhaps a theater with escort performers. A shrine to Mercury and Priapus, littered with coins and herbs, reveals his superstition, not faith. He records big spenders and troublemakers, possibly even a coded magistrate. A crying girl offers a coin or broken bracelet. He waves her away, indifferent. Scholars see linos as civic figures regulating vice, but it's about control, not pride. His power needs no raised voice. The building breathes his rhythm. Guards, girls, clients, all bow to his purse. The brothel's menu, painted on walls and etched on tokens, offers more than sex. Whips, group acts, public spectacles during festivals. Oral sex is cheap, anal pricier, group sex exorbitant. Clients by roles. Maiden, foreigner, dominatrix, haggling like market vendors. Some sought power, not pleasure, choosing girls who could cry convincingly. Graffiti boasts she begged me to stop. I didn't. Others craved softness, a fleeting lie of kisses. The sensory overload is relentless. Exotic perfumes, trained moans, specific accents. A legendary night of madness package. Anything goes for triple the rate. Caters to nobles and dignitaries. A faded fresco shows a couple face-to-face, touching gently, a relic of a less brutal time. These paintings doubled as instructions for non-Latin speakers or young workers. The efficiency is sickening. A glance, a nod, a transaction. The casual depravity, not hidden rooms, but open stalls, makes you queasy. You're no longer shocked, just hollow. The brothel's marketplace of possibilities grinding on. Your skin crawls, not from fear but from disease. The Lupanar is a cauldron of pathogens. Syphilis, or its ancient cousin, festers alongside lice, herpes, and chlamydia. No antiseptics, no condoms, just cloudy water, ash, and prayers. A basin drips with dark liquid. A rag soaks nearby. Workers whisper of ignis sacer, sacred fire, for infections blamed on them, not clients. Graffiti warns, beware of the Lena, she burns like fire. Roman doctors offered mercury ointments or lead powders, often worsening the damage. Respiratory illnesses, tuberculosis, pneumonia, thrive in the smoky, unventilated air. Pregnancy is inevitable, with no midwives or clean linens. Infants are sold, abandoned, or buried in sewer drains. Some brothels may have raised daughters for the trade, a grim cycle. Birth control is desperate. Extinct silphium, wild rue, or lead-laced vinegar. A girl sips a bitter herbal drink, eyes fixed on the ground, waiting for relief or regret. Amulets, frogs, wolves, rude gestures offer magical protection. A clay jug labeled fermentum femininorum holds a futile contraceptive gel. Pregnancy brings fear, not joy. Swollen bellies are hidden or sold to fetishes. Infants face exposure, legal abandonment. The brothel never pauses, not for miscarriages, illness, or death. The leno demands is cut, the gods their offerings. The darkness feels alive, a sticky veil muffling the air. Oil lamps, carved like leaves or feet, cast a golden glow, softening the filth but not hiding it. Their light, heat, and fire hazard, burning rancid oil that smells of smoke and decay. Each flame dips as someone passes, hesitating in this wretched place. No windows, no ventilation, just paintings and doorways for watching. The lamps hum with the weight of countless nights, soaking up screams and prayers. You stand by one, its flicker a fragile rebellion against the brothel's relentless churn, knowing no one escapes untouched. The oil lamps burn industrial-grade oil, thick and rancid, made from dregs. It lasts long but pollutes the air, weighing heavy on your lungs. A worker pauses to adjust a wick with a sooty iron rod, nudging the flame like a pet. She glances at you, shrugs, and moves on. What could you say? Nice ambience? She'd laugh, or maybe not. She's long past caring. The dim glow hides bruises, masks filth, turns tired eyes into seductive glances, and stone slabs into something almost inviting. In this light, no one is ugly, exhausted, or bleeding. Even lies look beautiful. Deeper in the hallway, the light fades. Some lamps are nearly out, a faint orange thread in the dark. Others flare too bright, casting monstrous shadows. There's no system, just improvisation. A loud clatter erupts, followed by a whoosh. A lamp topples, flames licking a dry tunic. The hallway blazes orange for seconds, revealing cracked floors, bloodstains, a worker's terrified face. Hands rush in with a bucket, kicking fabric, smothering the fire with a wet rag. The light dies, silence returns. No screams, just muttered curses and shuffling feet. You stand frozen, heart pounding, but the brothel exhales and continues. Fire is routine here, like disease or heartbreak. Pompeii burned before Vesuvius buried it, and in brothels, crammed with flammable fabrics, flames were just another hazard. In the courtyard, Someone relights the lamp, pouring thick oil from a jar, sparking it with a coal. No ceremony, just business. The fire falls and rises, like the brothel itself, fueled by desperation and repetition. Everyone here is trying not to burn out completely, keeping the wick trimmed, the flame contained. The ceiling is blackened with centuries of soot, obscuring frescoes of Venus, Priapus, and Mars. A shrine near a lamp holds a melting wax figure, perhaps a deity, looking as exhausted as the workers. Scholars suggest dim lamps emboldened clients, blurring guilt into shadows. The flames don't dance, they struggle, burning from habit, not desire, just like you. The brothel's true theater lies beyond grunt work or painted menus. Here, kinks and taboos dissolve in a spectacle, not intimacy. In a narrow, dimly lit passage, moans give way to thuds and whip cracks. Not playful, but deliberate. You pause, unsure if it's punishment or request, until a soft chuckle clarifies. It's paid for. Kings weren't secrets in Rome, they were features. Want to play a triumphant gladiator or a captured slave? There's a worker with a script. Want to be called Dominus while fed by a naked servant? Take a seat. Rome's rigid hierarchy, class, gender, status became costumes here. Magistrates paid to be chained, merchants to submit, flipping power for a night. Graffiti confirms it. Felix loves to be beaten. 5 lashes, 1 denarius. Dishes spat in my face. I paid double. A tall worker with a red ribbon smirks, tapping a rod, offering dominance without a word. Festivals like Saturnalia inverted roles. Masters served slaves, children bossed adults, and brothels staged these reversals with ropes and bruises. A larger cubiculum holds props. Chains, a bench, a cracked mirror, feathers, paddles, even a carved phallus on a stone base. Foot fetishes were common. Lupina's feet are softer than Venus herself, as were hair obsessions, with men paying for braiding or to lie beneath a curtain of curls. Some kinks were cruel, screams blending with laughter, the line between pain and pleasure obliterated. The safe word? Enough coin to stop. A man with a welted cheek grins, proud. The worker wipes her hand, expression neutral. Scholars debate if these acts protested Rome's control or just indulged boredom. Terms like luxuriosus, decadent, or perversitas, unnatural, hinted at crossing lines, but in a brothel, where a man could be walked on like a rug, what was natural? A table holds a ceremonial blade, bells, a dog-shaped mask, a silver-threaded whip, tools or toys of scripted desires. The walls are a jagged canvas of graffiti, Rome's original social media. Confessions, boasts, warnings. Felix screwed Fortunata. She moaned like a goddess. Below, a retort. She charged double because he couldn't finish. No one gets the last word. Myrtus has soft lips. Cassia likes it rough. I visited Dotilla 3 times. She made me believe in the gods. Rumor is fact until scratched over. Graffiti wasn't vandalism. It was communication, a bulletin board for praise, slander, or philosophy. What is pleasure but the trick of a lonely mind? Crude phallic doodles, perhaps for luck or trolling, mixed with arguments. Secundus was satisfied. Secundus couldn't find the right hole. Ask Fortunata. Workers left notes too. Today was quiet. I chose this name, not him. He asked me to be his wife. I told him to go home. Tiny carvings, suns, birds, stars, tally marks. Mark days or clients. A house with one day etched below, a dream unfulfilled. A famous line reads, "Weep you who read this, for I was once free." A handprint, pressed not painted, screams of pain or resistance. Graffiti was resistance, a secret ledger for those who couldn't write, etching their existence into stone. Heavy footsteps echo, sandals, iron, a slurred voice with hard consonants. Gladiators swagger in, loud, scarred, half-drunk. One, muscle-bound with missing fingers, wears a crooked laurel crown, blood streaking his arm, an amphora of wine at his lips. 2 follow, a twitchy youth and a silent killer. The courtyard shifts. Workers glance away or primp, sensing threat and opportunity. Gladiators, celebrity slaves, brought coin but chaos. Ubi est fortunata, the crowned one bellows, slamming his amphora down, spilling wine. A guard edges closer. Gladiators were gods in Pompeii, their short lives idolized. Some are hired out by their lanista to rich women or patrons, playing submissive roles. Graffiti boasts. Celadus the Thracian makes all the girls sigh. A matron with cold dark eyes and heavy rings glides in, brushing the crowned gladiator's scar. He pulls her close, rough but familiar, her gaze nostalgic, not lustful. Wealthy women visited brothels for rule-free nights, escaping silent domestic roles. A younger gladiator follows a girl behind a curtain, silent, obedient. The crowned one laughs, wine in his beard, the matron on his lap, a raw, desperate moment before the arena's next call. Their frayed beauty, wrapped in bandages, is power on borrowed time. A carving reads, "I kissed a god, and he tasted like blood." The brothel is a battlefield, not just a market. A guard with a gladius watches two drunken men, one arguing with a girl half his size. She holds her ground, lips tight. Violence is the rule. Bruised lips, swollen cheeks, unrequested bite marks. You hear muffled sobs, sharp gasps, slaps. Some clients punish, gripping too hard, avoiding eye contact, needing to destroy to feel real. A young man shoves a girl against a wall, shouting. She freezes, the guard unmoved until a friend intervenes. The rhythm swallows it. Fear, control, routine. Girls step back from raised voices. A boy with a split lip grins too wide. Laws existed, but assault wasn't pursued for the enslaved or poor. Vis libidinis, violence of lust, was a euphemism scratched into walls. Workers carried hidden knives, rusted blades, tucked under mattresses for insurance. A legend tells of Tanquil, who killed a client with a hairpin and hid him in a wine vat. Her name is etched faintly. Tanquil was right. Most didn't survive such defiance. As night fades, the chaos simmers into heavy quiet. Not peaceful, just tired. The sad hour before dawn sees clients stagger out. Gladiators lose bravado. Guards look away. The masks come off, revealing aftermath. A girl lies on a slab, staring at the ceiling, tunic wrinkled, lips swollen, blood on her thigh. She blinks at you, unmoved, saving energy. Sounds sharpen. A cough explodes, footsteps thunder. Lamps sputter, some drowned in cold oil. The brothel feels like a prison with forgotten walls. Faint sobbing draws you to a girl hunched against a wall, alone, releasing hours of suppressed pain. Two girls wash in cloudy water, scrubbing off fingerprints. Another carries a bloodied rag, gaze vacant. A sour decay lingers, old bandages, discarded garments. A bucket of dirty water splashes the alley, rats scattering. A cracked lullaby, Greek or Thracian, hums from a room, of fragile comfort. Blood smears mark a doorframe. A sheet hangs like a surrender flag. Two girls share a fig, recounting the night. The fat one fell asleep. I left. Another scratches a mark into the wall. Another moment memorialized. Scholars debate if brothels ever closed. Some say workers slept in bursts, reapplying paint, rotating shifts, their exhaustion as relentless as the Lupanar itself. Scholars debate whether the Lupanar ever truly paused. Some say it churned through the night with relentless shifts. Others insist on moments of stillness where the building exhaled. The truth is likely both, and neither feels less tragic. In the central courtyard, the air is still. A few figures lie curled in corners. One girl sleeps with her head on a folded tunic. Another hugs her knees, unable to relax even in dreams. No one speaks or sings now. Above, the sky shifts from black to charcoal gray, dawn creeping in mercilessly. You've endured the night, rooms, rituals, the endless rhythm of coin for flesh, but it doesn't feel like survival. It feels like damage, layers of yourself scraped away. The workers don't truly sleep. Some will rise to clean, others will carry their pain to a temple, a friend, or nowhere at all. There's no ending here, just the next hour, the next knock, the next coin. The brothel wasn't built to steal your breath. It was designed to take everything. Near a side exit, barely lit by dying lamplight, a small altar sits in a recessed niche, filled with melted wax and brittle offerings. Expecting something generic, you find an 8-inch clay statue of Priapus. Long nose, curled beard, mischievous eyes, and an exaggerated phallus. He's no joke here, not a museum postcard, but a ward, a weapon, a warning. Tiny Priapus figures hide in corners. Frescoes loom over courtyards. Amulets hang from workers' necks. He protects, not as a god, but as a symbol of fertility and defiance. Offerings surround him. Bronze coins, dried figs, wool scraps, a loop of black hair, a dish of sour milk, prayers of the desperate. Nearby, a chipped terracotta Venus and a Mercury figurine, god of commerce, reflect the brothel's duality. Sex and sanctity intertwined. Gods aren't excluded. They're dragged in, given incense and oil, forced to witness the suffering. A necklace of glass beads on fraying linen hangs above, centered by a manophyca, a thumb between fingers, warding off the evil eye. This ancient, non-Roman symbol appears everywhere, tucked in tunics, tied to wrists, drawn in chalk, tattooed on collarbones. The brothel is saturated with belief, not in justice or luck, but in shields, signs, anything that might protect. A faint inscription at the altar's base reads, Domina Vide, Lady Watch. Is it Venus, a mother, a nameless goddess? The plea is clear, see me. Yet the gods seem silent, watching without answering, as bruises, pregnancies, and disappearances pile up. In a cubiculum, a candle burns low, a votive for the dead. The bed sheet is soaked red, the smell heavy. When a worker died, others lit a candle, leaving it to burn until morning. Bodies were slipped into alleys, sold to doctors, or buried with broken pots. No ceremony, just fire and silence. Scholars debate whether these rituals were transactional, homage to keep business thriving, or personal, a threat of control for the enslaved. Either way, charms, candles, and graffiti prayers litter the Lupanar, born of desperation. Another shrine, barely maintained, holds a dusty Isis figurine, a maternal Egyptian goddess offering compassion in a place that punishes motherhood. Someone brought her here, carving out space for gentleness. The air smells of incense and decay, the building creaking as a rat scuttles. You linger, feeling the worker's exhaustion, questioning if protection was ever real or just another performance. Priapus' smug grin watches, eternal, merciless. A woman in saffron linen, perfumed and gold-pinned, strides through the hallway like she owns it. Her clean sandals and coiled hair mark her as elite, a senator's wife, a widow, a priestess perhaps. Every eye follows, but no one speaks. Workers freeze, guards straighten, the Leno perks up. She's here with purpose, not curiosity. Stopping at a cubiculum, she lifts a nervous girl's chin, barely 17, blinking fast, speaks softly, and places a coin deliberately. They vanish behind a curtain, the air shifting. Women as patrons were rare, but real, especially the wealthy seeking silence, tenderness, or control. Roman matrons, trapped by virtue and duty, came to brothels for rule-free nights, to be someone else. Inside, murmurs replace moans, sandals unlaced with reverence. It's not sex, it's intimacy, purchased like jewelry. No graffiti boasts of this. No one writes of women seeking softness or attention, a moment to be seen without politics. Scholars debate if these visits were exaggerated gossip or real, but names like Cornelia and Disha etched on walls suggest truth. The matron laughs softly, a release, not seduction. The worker knows how to touch a grieving arm, to offer comfort without words, fluent in intimacy's currency. Then you hear it, a voice too high, too soft, too young. Your body tenses, recognizing what history obscures, children in the brothel. Rome had no age of consent for the enslaved. Childhood blurred with adulthood, unmarked by morality. Behind a back corridor door, a storage room holds crates, blankets, and a girl, maybe 12, knees to chest, eyes too wide. You shut the door, unable to process. Children were commodities, cheaper, trainable, profitable. Some were born here, daughters raised for the trade. Others trafficked from provinces, stripped of names, given one instruction: please the customer. Signs emerge: tiny sandals, a child-sized tunic, a headless wooden doll. Boys, too, were used, forced into roles based on demand, not gender. Graffiti chills. Parvulus matuit me. The little one fears me. No laws protected them. They were assets. Clients openly requested the small one, some offering gifts, bracelets, sweets, claiming love as if it erased the violence. An alley holds a shattered amphora, flies buzzing over a puddle. This is where trash, and perhaps bodies, went. The sky grays, light pretending to be hope. Love in a brothel is a candle underwater, flickering briefly before drowning. Yet it happened. Clients fell for workers, poets wrote sonnets, men tried to buy freedom. Graffiti hints at it. Come back before Saturnalia, beside dried rose petals. Amavi et purdy, I loved and lost. Some freed their lovers, though daylight often cracked noble intentions. A senator's son, legend says, burned a brothel after his beloved vanished, sold or dead. Navilia, a freed worker, married her client, but her tomb praised his generosity, not her survival. Love was rebellion, defying transactions, but dangerous. Attachment sparked retaliation, beatings, transfers, name changes to deter repeat clients. Tokens, hidden rings, and lingering touches betray attempts at connection. But love was unwelcome, complicating profit. A clumsy heart carved with Tertia plus Lucius and a single word. Why? Says it all. The brothel stirs with a new threat: the law. Prostitution was legal, taxed, and regulated. Workers registered as meretresses, but protections were non-existent. Moralists and scorned wives could spark raids. A man in a clean toga speaks tersely to the lino, who nods irritably. Rooms close, a girl bundles her belongings, another is redirected from the street-facing door. Guards straighten, sensing trouble. 3 officials arrive, 2 lictors and a perfectus vigilum. They demand licenses most workers can't read, question ownership, health, and origins. A girl holds a misdated tag, another weeps, lacking one. The lino offers a bribe, but the commander's eyes stay cold. A whistle from the street halts the inspection, perhaps a bigger scandal or a paid-off superior. The girls tremble, fearing return visits or disappearances. The law is a half-drawn sword, a tool for control, not justice. A fresh carving reads, "The gods don't come, but the law does, and neither shows mercy." Behind a warped curtain in the eastern corridor, a hidden door swings inward, revealing a round room with redder light and a smoky smell of burnt herbs. Dark glyphs, Greek, Latin, older, cover the walls, not frescoes of lust, but cryptic symbols. A low stone platform, stained with dark, rust-colored marks, slopes to a drain. This isn't a bedroom. It's a shrine, a back room for rituals, not services. A horned bronze figure, part goat, part nightmare, stands in shadow, not Venus or Priapus. These rooms, rarely mentioned, hosted mysteria, secret rites for elites seeking more than bodies, control, myth reenactments, or darker acts. Some were cultic, tied to Cybele or Dionysus. Others were invented for patrons craving transformation. A mask with wide eyes and open mouth, a stained cloth with a circled hand, and an inscription, "I gave her to the gods." She did not scream, hint at horrors beyond theater. Some say these rooms doubled as punishment chambers for defiant workers, their silence ensuring secrecy. Another carving, in an unknown dialect, reads, "Once, twice marked." The air hums with echoes, screams, chants, misplaced laughter. The ground hums, a subtle tremor like a cart on cobblestones. Oil sloshes in a lamp. A girl clutches a doorframe. Another rumble, deeper, shakes the floor. In Pompeii, Tremors were common, ignored. No one screams. They pause, waiting. You know what's coming? Ash, pumice, pyroclastic surges, but they don't. The brothel continues, moans echoing, wine half drunk. A third tremor cracks plaster behind a worker, staring blankly, hands folded like she's already entombed. The sky outside is hazy, acrid, too dark for dawn. A crack splits the earth, dropping you to your knees, ears ringing. Ash falls like flour, fast and endless. Chaos erupts. Workers run, grabbing coins, shoes, idols. The Leno shouts, hurting them. A girl yells in Greek, refusing to die here. A client demands his coin. Another grabs a worker, who slaps him and bolts. A ceiling beam groans. The floor tilts. In a fleeting moment, a girl, perhaps Fortunata, pauses in a doorway, torch in hand, hair wild, eyes blazing like a goddess. The roof caves, swallowing her in dust. You reach the street, choking on ash, cloth over your mouth. Mothers clutch children, men drag carts, dogs howl. The mountain looms, unseen but crushing. The brothel's facade stands, smeared with ash, windows black. It breathes its last, moans, cries, carve names before collapsing. Hours later, ash, pumice, and heat bury it, sealing bodies in poses, curled in corners, locked in embraces. One man gripping himself on a stone bed. They'll be called plaster ghosts, but they were real. A graffito near the entrance reads, Rima Nemus, we will remain. The walls, stains, and names endure, uncovered centuries later by pickaxes. Tourists will gawk, scholars will debate, but none will know the smell, the sound, the cost of a single night. You run, lungs burning, stumbling over tiles and sandals. Pompeii streets are chaos, carts abandoned, animals tangled, faces frozen in disbelief. No prophecy warned them, just clouds and fire. The brothel's walls fall, burying secrets, prayers, and names scratched by those who couldn't write. Stone beds splinter, frescoes crack, rooms become tombs. The taste of oil, blood, and lime lingers. Some workers may have fled, reaching the sea, starting anew, but most became ash, their final moments clutching coins or names. Historians will dissect the Lupanar's role, elite or working class, enslaved or willing, but you walked its halls. No one lived there. They endured, breath by breath, bruise by bruise. It traded agency, not sex, a sweaty lie sustained by smiles, fantasies, and ledgers. Vesuvius silenced it, locking every scream and graffito in volcanic amber. The truth survives better than flesh, preserved in Pompeii's ruins, where surviving a night was nearly impossible, not from violence or filth, but from being wanted yet never cared for, used and discarded without a name, unless carved in a plaster.